you for the last 4 years. I've been proudly serving you for the last 4 years. And I hope I can continue the job, meaning we've done some great work together between the Northeast Dems, Northwest Dems, BBAD, Bexar County Democrats, Tejano Dems. Together, collectively, we have worked on 14 elections. So, and we have done a great job together as a team. And with that, now with 14 elections under my belt and working with all of you, I believe that we have turned over the party into something that we should all be very, very proud of. We have kept the party in the black. I just have been sitting down this week with 2 additional donors. They're going to come into the party. So I'm working as hard as I can to increase our sustaining membership. We have secured office, and we have in the last 4 years, we've increased our precinct chairs. Now we have a lot more precinct chairs to gather, and I need your help. But we have really collectively done something that we should all be very proud of. And I hope to continue that job. And so that I can show you in the next 2 years what we're going to do and how we're going to raise this office. So I hope I can count on your support and ensure your endorsement. Once again, I would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Monica.
I need to mute everyone, and then, well, Robert, you'll unmute yourself, and the next candidate will unmute themselves as well.
Okay.
Didn't change that.
Okay.
All right. We were in the middle of John Lira's presentation. Sorry about that. I had a comment here in the chat. It was a Russian hack. Oh my goodness, they're really reaching down, aren't they? Okay, is John Lira still with us, or has he moved on?
I'm here. I was on a roll too, so I'm going to try to gather that same energy that I did have.
Yeah. Finish up.
Am I good? I got the Russian clearance from Moscow to go.
Yes, right.
listen. Like I was saying, my story really begins early in my senior year of high school when I raised my hand to join the United States Marine Corps. Through service in the Marines and on foreign battlefields, that's where I gained the discipline and desire to lead at the front lines of the most challenging environments and the determination to leave no one behind. Through the GI Bill, I overcame transition here in town. I went to got a degree at San Antonio College and the University of Texas at San Antonio, and sharpened my skills as an intel analyst and became a student of political science. As not only did I serve on the front lines of combat, but I've also served on the front lines of veterans, small business, and national defense policy as a civil servant in the federal government. So all these amazing experiences have prepared me and have driven my run and my desire to run for Congress. So not only am I running for Congress in the spirit of continued service to country, but also out of a personal feeling of obligation to my neighbors in Southwest Texas. You see, Texas 23 is one of the most historic and diverse districts in the country, but also faces some of the most unique challenges of our nation. For example, it's home to an immigration and border crisis that both parties have frankly neglected. Residents and veterans in Texas 23 still lack access to affordable healthcare insurance and basic medical facilities. And Texas 23 has tons of roads and bridges that investments in are long overdue. Simply put, the challenges of Texas 23 are too important to leave to a partisan politician like Tony Gonzalez. The people are demanding a problem solver, they're demanding a partner, and I'm ready to work to be your partner. So in closing, I'll just say that Texas 23 is a race that is completely within reach and worth fighting for. I have been endorsed by Veronica Escobar, State Senator Roland Gutierrez, 3 chapters of the Tejano Democrats from Bexar County all the way to El Paso, Bexar County Stonewall Dems, and the San Antonio Express News. And of course, it would be an honor of a lifetime Northeast Dems, Bexar County Dems, to have your endorsement in this important race. My name will be first on the ballot coming up starting on Monday. And this is the year that Democrats can win back this seat that was once held by Pete Gallego, that was once held by Ciro Rodriguez, Alberto Bustamante, and Chick Kazin. So with all of us together, we can win back this seat. Victory in Texas 23 comes through Bexar County, and I will definitely humbly ask for your support in doing so. So thank you very much. It would be an honor of a lifetime to represent our voice, our values, and our interests on the floor of the House chamber as your next member of U.S. Congress for Texas 23. Thanks a lot, Northeast Dems. It'd be an honor to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. We have, because of the glitch, fallen a little behind. And so, but now we're going to move on with Tanya Benavides, U.S. Representative District 28 candidate. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanya Benavides. I am running for Congress in Texas 28. I am an educator. I'm a first-generation American and community organizer who fought and successfully won and beat Donald Trump's wall in Laredo, Texas. I was born and raised at the border, and I've called Laredo my home since I was 5 years old. And it's really been my experience as a teacher and as a community organizer that has shaped me into the leader that I am today, and why I'm able to throw my hat in the ring to be your next Congresswoman. I'm running for Congress as a working class Latina and someone who has borne, witnessed, and experienced some of the many hardships in our communities. And these hardships that we possess as barriers require a leader that can turn their life experiences into forward thinking and common sense policies that put our people first. There are 3 key issues that I will prioritize in Congress as Texas 28's next representative. First, healthcare. Secondly, living wage and worker rights. And thirdly, but not last, an education so that every Texan that lives in South Texas can work and thrive in the community that they live in. Healthcare is a human right. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown us and exacerbated as such the issues within our medical system. In Congress, I would work to expand access, eligibility, and services within Medicare. And then I would work to strengthen and build upon the Affordable Care Act so we can work towards a pathway to a single payer system. I would invest in key infrastructure like a pediatric ICU and an emergency trauma response center in Region 11 so that we are not seen relying on other medical regions to give our people the proper care that they deserve. Since 2009, the minimum wage has been stagnant. So in Congress, I would advance the agenda of the 5 for 15 along with the cost of living index so that we are able to keep up with rising costs and inflation and not be having to fight for wages every 10 years, every 15 years. And lastly, I am a product of public schools and I am a public school teacher myself. So I would prioritize education legislation from K to 12 to higher ed, knowing the value and potential a high quality, equitable education has to help us build a prosperous society. And when you elect me, you are electing an entire community that has been able to stand up and fight for a better tomorrow. So I humbly ask that you support me and give me your endorsement as Northeast Bear County Dance. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to move on to Congressional District 35. Eddie Rodriguez. Eddie Rodriguez, are you there?
I am.
You're up.
All right, thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. Again, my name is Representative Eddie Rodriguez. I'm state representative for District 51 here in Austin. I've had the honor and privilege of serving the people of the district for the last 19 years. And I've been a progressive fighter throughout my time there. In fact, I've been in the minority the entire time. My first session was 2003, and that's when the Republicans took over the House. And it's been that way ever since I've been there. But despite being in the minority, despite that, I've been able to pass progressive, meaningful legislation that helps people. And that's not easy to do. You know, you all, I'm sure, follow the legislature. It's tough to get things done, but I'm able to do that because I believe that to be called a progressive, as I call myself, you must make progress. And I've been able to do that throughout my time there. Just last session, for example, I passed a bill that expanded for housing for the homeless for 1,500 more people, for supportive housing and permanent housing for the homeless, increased access to affordable housing by promoting and pushing for community land trusts. I fought the Republicans and Governor Abbott last session. He was holding $11 billion of COVID-19 federal relief funds from public schools with playing politics, mask politics, vaccine politics. On budget night, I offered an amendment and I dared the Republicans to vote against it. The amendment said, release the funds directly to our public schools. And they accepted the amendment, they blinked. And the governor released the funds shortly thereafter. And finally, last session, I was one of the leaders of leading a delegation of Texas House Democrats to Washington, D.C. to fight for voting rights. And that's what I want to continue doing, is fighting the progressive fight in Washington for the people of District 35. And I will say that when I'm there, I will fight for Medicare for all, increasing the minimum wage, and obviously voting rights is critically important right now, and protecting a woman's right to make her own health decisions is some of the things I will work on, and I will fight for the people of this district. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on, Carla Joy Cisco, candidate for U.S. Representative District 35. Carla Joy Cisco, unmute please. Carla Joy Cisco. Carla Joy Cisco. We will move on. Rebecca Villagran, U.S. Representative District 35 candidate.
Hello. Hello, I'm here.
Yes.
Hi there. Hello, Northeast Bexar County Democrats. My name is Rebecca Villagran. I'm a proud Latina born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, to a working class family. And I am running to serve you and your families in U.S. District 35, in Texas District 35. I am the only Bexar County candidate in this race. What prepares me for this role is I've been a community leader, a women's rights advocate, a professor, an immigration reform advocate, a government representative. I'm a tireless, compassionate, and a fearless leader. Many of you all know I served 4 terms on the San Antonio City Council in District 3, and I ended my term as the longest serving Latina ever in the history of the district. I earned my bachelor's degree from Texas State, my master's from St. Mary's University, and I'm running because I believe representation matters and too much is at stake when it comes to the assault on women's reproductive rights, housing, healthcare, climate change, voting rights, and empowering working families. I will fight codifying Roe versus Wade. We need to pass the Equality Act. We need to increase the minimum wage, cancel the existing student debt, and pass a pathway for DACA recipients and make sure we have Medicaid expansion. I'm proud to have been endorsed by former State Senator Leticia Vandepute, State Senator Jose Menendez, and there are too many in Congress who do not know what it means to be a woman or what it takes to live paycheck to paycheck. Texans and voters want their elected representatives to solve problems, not compound them, and to deliver results that will last. That's why on City Council, I helped raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour for our city employees, declared racism as a public health crisis, expanded the San Antonio's non-discrimination ordinance, advanced pay equity and women's issues. I proudly testified against the bathroom bill at the Texas Capitol in 2017, tackled food insecurity and homelessness in San Antonio, passed the equity budget to invest more tax dollars in those red line communities, which I worked on, and absolutely worked hard to set up that COVID mass vaccination hub in the south side of San Antonio where there were health disparities and not enough resources. I will continue to use my hard work ethic and my advocacy for our community. My years in government have taught me how to listen, how to gently compromise, but how to stand my ground and fight like hell when lives are at stake. I ask for your vote. Let's please make history and elect the first woman ever in this seat for Central and South Texas. Muchísimas gracias, Rebecca Villagran for Congress. One of the questions that was asked was, how do you intend to stay connected with the community? These virtual meetings have taught us that you don't expect your congressional representatives just to come in on the weekends. You want congressional representatives to stay connected all week long, even when they're in DC. And I will do that for our community. So thank you so much. I humbly ask for your endorsement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We are going to move on. There is one position which is out of position because of a time conflict. And that's Jay Clibert for Commissioner of the Public Land Office. Jay Clibert, are you with us?
Just join you, yes, sir.
Okay, on you go.
Okay, 2 minutes, is that right?
2 minutes.
Okay, great. Jay Clibert, Democratic candidate for Texas Land Commissioner, and have about 20 years worth of experience protecting Texas lands. Last as Associate Director for Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation for about 8 years. Where I did one of the largest land transactions in Texas history for conservation purposes, Powderhorn Ranch, and raised about $100 million while I was there for conservation in the state of Texas and open space. And then also established about 3 years ago a Airbnb for ranches that now has about 1 million acres of land that's protected, and also ensuring that working lands, the loss of which 200,000 acres a year, we continue to combat. The General Land Office is responsible for 13 million acres of public lands, generates about 600 million in funding for K through 12 education, supports our veterans, and also about $14 billion in disaster relief funds to invest in a more resilient Texas. I'm running for this office because I believe that everything that I've just talked about, everything that we love as Texans, is at risk due to climate change, and the General Land Office and the Texas Land Commissioner is the state's top environmental post and can do something about it.
Okay.
Sir, I wanted to let you know that Mahoney, Tim Mahoney, Janet Dudding, and Jenny Sue are in the meeting now.
Yes, got him. All right.
Joyce is joining us.
Yeah, for Jay Clibert. Okay, we're going to move on. Okay, so Tim Mahoney for Comptroller of Public Accounts. Tim
Thanks.
Mahoney.
It's great to be here. I've been trained as a journalist. I have a master's degree in public affairs, and I've been a practicing attorney for the last 30 years. I decided to run again. I ran 4 years ago for the controller's position and came within 3 points of prevailing in the primary, but didn't quite get over that hump. I decided to run again last year when I saw what the Texas legislature was going to be doing with with the redistricting process. And I went and testified before the House Redistricting Committee in May of last year, and told them I knew that they were going to do what they were going to do, but it wasn't right, and they were making bad public policy because of it. And that I decided then that redistricting had to be a major issue that we empowered people around the state with knowing about. And we should redistrict again in 2023 if we can manage to get a majority of the House and Senate to be sympathetic to that notion. I noticed that there's a number of the people who are running for state chair that are raising the issue of we need to go ahead and get resources out to people in counties, because the state party just has not been doing that. We need to get it so that the counties are energizing and utilizing the van, among other things, as a resource to make possible the election of local and state candidates as we go down towards November, and thereafter, the county party should be able to use it for electing local people.
Hello. Mr. Mahoney, you have you're muted. Unmute yourself. Sorry.
Did it just happen? I hope
it happened about 10 seconds ago.
Okay. Well, I think I closed with, we need to go ahead. If I prevail, it'll be because of the social media advertising that I'm using to every part of the state, and I would hope to utilize that for the November election and get that kind of skill set out to all the county organizations.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to Janet Dudding, Comptroller of Public Accounts.
Yes, thank you very much for including me today. I am Janet Dudding. I'm running for Comptroller of Public Accounts, which is the state's accountant. And if there's ever an elected office that's built for someone like me, this is it. As a single mom, I averaged 20 hours a semester to earn my accounting degree, started working full-time for the state auditor's office, jumped into my MBA program and became a CPA, but I'm a different kind of CPA. When people hear that I'm a certified public accountant, they immediately started asking me income tax questions. I'm not that kind of CPA. My first job out of school was actually investigating allegations that elected officials were embezzling taxpayer money or taking kickbacks. I helped lay the groundwork for Operation Pretense, which put over 50 corrupt politicians in prison. I've spent my entire career, my whole adult life, holding governments and governmental officials accountable. I've audited, accounted for, administered, and even investigated state and local governments for the past 35 years. This is my wheelhouse. This is my life's work. But there's some nuances in the Comptroller's office that hit my passions too. One of them is the Comptroller is charged with reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I am a Katrina survivor, and climate change is personal to me. By reducing greenhouse gas emissions on state-owned lands, we can cap or capture that methane on state-owned lands and use that methane for fuel. It's at least taken a step in the right direction. If we can get it to work there, then let's roll out that prototype. Comptroller is also responsible for green jobs and green energy. I'm endorsed by the AFL-CIO, and they've got an excellent climate jobs program publication that it speaks to the green jobs providing a living wage right out of high school. And there's a lot more in there, and I encourage everyone to go and look it up. I'm all in. And then the last one that I have time to mention right now is expanding broadband. I am really interested in talking to rural local officials about providing broadband as a rural governmental utility. It'll keep the cost down, it'll keep access open, and it'll provide a revenue stream for those local governments. I've been endorsed by several groups. I've been endorsed by Annie's, AFL-CIO, the Hano Democrats, some of the Stonewall groups, some of the young groups, some of the collegiate groups. The endorsement that I really need right now is y'all's on election day. Voting starts Monday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Please, if you like what you hear, please spread the word, bring your friends to the polls, and help get out the vote. Thank you very much for letting me join. I'm Janet Dunning. I'm running for Comptroller of Public Accounts, the only woman on the ballot, the only CPA on the ballot, the only woman CPA who spent the last 35 years holding the good old boys accountable on the ballot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on. We're running a little behind schedule to Jenny Sue, candidate for Commissioner of the Public Land Office. Jenny Sue.
Hello, everyone. I am Jenny Sue, running for Texas Land Commissioner. I'm coming to you today as a fighter, a community organizer, and an activist. I'm a licensed attorney, former teacher, former PTA leader, small business owner, working mom to 2 public school kids aged 5 and 9. But I'm also notable because I am the founder and leader of Immunize Texas. I've been at the Texas State Capitol for the past 6 years, fighting for better public health care policy for all Texans. I also want to share a little bit about how I was raised, because that's a part of why I'm running for this office. I am the child of working class Korean immigrants, and I grew up in a small rural town of about 10,000 people. And my parents came here with almost nothing to build a better life for themselves and for their family. So I actually grew up without health insurance. I grew up being treated as an other by my community. And I also watched my parents lose their plant nursery business when droughts hit our small town. And it's for that reason that I know climate change is something that will affect real people on the ground. It can cause people to lose their jobs, lose their livelihoods, not be able to pay their bills. And it's very important that as a state, we get in front of climate change. Now, whether we're talking about climate change or disaster relief fund distribution, managing the Alamo, funding public education, or funding veterans benefits, I think what we need is a leader that has the vision, the strength, and the backbone to take action and put policies in place that put people first. Now, I'm very excited to say that there are a number of organizations that have endorsed me because they see in me a leader, someone with experience, someone with integrity. And I just want to list those off really quickly. I've been endorsed by Texas AFL-CIO, Annie's List, Texas AFT, and most recently by the College Dems at Texas State University. So I hope that I've earned your support. I hope that you'll vote for me this primary season. And I would love to answer any questions. If you reach out to me through my website, I'm happy to have a conversation about what's important to you and what you'd like to see from your next land commissioner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the last candidate that we have for land commissioner, Michael Lang.
Yes, I'm here.
Fire away.
Good morning. I'm Michael Lang, and I'm running for Texas Land Commissioner. Born and raised in Texas, the son of working class immigrants. My father was the first person in his family to ever finish high school. I grew up in Houston, but also in rural Texas. So I have a strong feeling of both urban and rural life. I'm running to stop the Republicans from winning this race in November, and I will get that done. It's a $3.4 billion job with 800 employees. I have 40 years of professional leadership and skill experience in small and large businesses, and I got the job done. $1 billion a year goes to the Permanent School Fund. And here's a vision for you. Right now, Texas ranks in the bottom 5 in the nation in reading for K through 12. As land commissioner, I will take us from the bottom 5 to the top 5. What will that do? That will make employers more interested in Texas. They'll hire more Texans. There'll be higher paying jobs. The economy will move forward. People will have better lives. Families will be safer. And very importantly, the Texas public school system will be strengthened. 1.4 million Texas veterans you're responsible for. Right now, it's a disaster. It doesn't work at all. I have a plan. It's called Texas Has Your Six. Texas Has Your Back. I will totally transform and make it the best in the nation, the gold standard. 1,200 miles of coastline. The biggest fail we have right now is after a natural disaster, there's no planning. What if you knew that, for example, after a hurricane, there was domestic violence increased by 40% against women and children, and you had a plan in place, so when that happened, they had some place to go. I'm running to get things done. I can win in November. I have the skill set. If you want to win in November, I'm Michael Lang running for Texas Land Commissioner, and I will get it done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lang. We are doing okay here on time. We have about a minute for questions. Any questions? Any questions for any of the land commissioner candidates?
I have one.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Could you tell us, Mr. Lang, more about your experience? You said 40 years in business, but what was that 40 years experience pertaining to this office?
I have worked in large, complex financial organizations and business organizations. I have investment management experience, risk management experience, operational experience, marketing experience, communications, and I was brought in by companies to fix businesses that were in trouble. So 40 years, both in small and large businesses. For example, there's 800 employees in the land office. I've managed over 1,000. I've worked in companies worth 30 or $40 billion where I've managed things. The land office is 3.4 billion. Actual leadership, profit, loss, people responsibility, not just part of the team, the leader of the team. And that's the skill set that I bring. And that's how I can get the job done and make the land office better and people's lives better and families safer using those skill sets. And I will get that done because I've done it before.
Thank you so very much. We do need to move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the question.
Okay. Eddie Ireson, Agricultural Commissioner. Eddie.
Howdy, y'all.
Hi.
It's actually Ed Ireson. That's okay.
Ed Ireson. Okay.
Yeah. So howdy, y'all. My name is Ed Ireson, and I am running for Commissioner of Agriculture. I'm a businessman, a new father, and a proud Texan, which is why I'm running with a focus on the next generation of Texans. I was born in Houston, and my family has been running cattle for 130 years in Brazos County. Now, I like talking about what the Department of Agriculture actually does. First, the largest portion of the budget is school meal programs. I think we can all get behind the concept that we need our kids to have well-rounded, nutritious meals so that they can be prepared to learn. Next, the Ag Commissioner's job is to promote all of the great things we produce here in the state of Texas. Like I said, I'm a businessman. I know how to promote and market great products because I've done just that for small ranchers. I've worked with small ranchers to help them sell directly to consumers, cutting out the middleman so they can continue to earn a living wage. Finally, it's rural infrastructure, which is specifically healthcare and internet. I'm deeply passionate about ensuring that we have equitable internet access across the state. I don't want our families to feel like they have to leave our rural communities and move to Dallas or Houston just so that their kids can stand on a level playing field when it comes to being connected to do their homework or apply for college. Come November, I think that voters are going to be looking for someone different, someone who will come in and work to serve all Texans and do so with integrity, honesty, and transparency. My name is Ed Ireson, and I would appreciate your endorsement for the Texas Commissioner of Agriculture. And you can visit edfortexas.com to learn more about me and my campaign. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Okay, moving on to Attorney General. Joe Jaworski, first up. Mr. Jaworski. Joe?
Robert, I'm not sure he's in the meeting, but we do have Claudia Zapata for Congressional District 21.
Oh, okay. We can go back to Claudia Zapata. All right. Claudia Zapata.
Hi, everyone. Apologies. I'm out knocking on doors in Comal County in New Braunfels today. So I'm Claudia Zapata, running for TX21 against Chip Roy. I am a hardworking Latina that has instilled in me the values from my family, hard work, and taking care of others. I am a community organizer and have been for the last 10 years of my life, constantly volunteering on Democratic campaigns and with nonprofits, handling healthcare equity issues and environmental racism issues. I also worked at the Texas legislature as a legislative aide for the House District 46, 84th and 85th legislative sessions. And for the last 4 years, I worked as a workforce and budget analyst for the Texas Health and Human Services Commission. I am fighting to make sure that people have access to food, make sure that we give people grocery stores, food inaccessibility is rampant throughout the entire district. 98% of the population doesn't live within 20 miles of a grocery store. I'm fighting to make sure that not only do we have universal health care, but we also increase the amount of routine and preventative care clinics that we have within the district. Hospitals should be the last place that we send people, so we need to treat them before it escalates to an emergency situation. And I'm also fighting to make sure that we have a clean, livable environment. Not only does it provide for us and actually sustain our lives, but for a majority of the district, we also have a large amount of mid and small size farmers that rely on the land for their livelihood. And so in order to do that, we must protect it. I would really appreciate your vote. Once again, that's Claudia Zapata for U.S. Congress. Thank you so much for hosting this and having me.
Thank you so much.
There's
Okay.
a question in chat for her.
I'm going to go, not deal with questions for the time being.
All right, Ms. Zapata, there's a question in the chat for you.
We need to move on.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Is Joe Jaworski with us? Joe Jaworski. Still not here. Okay. Then we will move on to Mike Fields. Mike Fields for Attorney General.
Also not here.
Also not here. Okay. Lee Merritt for Attorney General. Lee Merritt.
Also not here.
Lee Merritt. Okay. Rochelle Garza. Rochelle Garza. Is Rochelle Garza with us yet? I just sent her the link.
What is her?
Attorney General. She's not on the list here because.
Oh, she's not on the list. Okay, thank you.
She missed the deadline. Okay, then we're going to move on to Lieutenant Governor, well ahead of time. Michelle Beckley for Lieutenant Governor. Michelle Beckley.
I don't see her in here also, but I do want to say,
bumped off and we're not able to get back in.
Okay, I'm not sure that she did, but I do want to say something for Michelle Beckley. During COVID and the convention 2 years ago, and they were, in her position, she was on a committee to help people get unemployment, their finances, and she really took it on and went straight to the Texas Unemployment Commission and made sure that people did get their unemployment. She's a really hard worker, and I would support her for this role.
All right. Okay. We can have that discussion later on in the endorsement session. Okay. Mike Collier for Lieutenant Governor. Is Mike Collier with us this morning? Mike Collier. Going once. Going twice. Mike Collier. Going 3 times. Mike Collier. Not here. Carla Braley. Carla Braley, are you with us? Carla Braley? Okay. Oh, I see that Carla Joy Cisco has joined us. We will go back to Carla Joy Cisco. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Sure.
My apologies. My name is Carla Joy Cisco, and I'm running for Congress in the 35th District. A little bit of my background. I am an educator. I got my teaching certificate from Harvard. I've been a community activist for over 20 years. I founded 3 nonprofits, one for for preventative services for youth for drug and alcohol abuse. Then I also started an organization that provided transitional housing for single parents and their children. I started a program for victims of domestic violence and a program for young people who were attending college that needed coaching and financial support. But in addition to that, I have a finance degree, and I've been a banker for several years. Currently, I've been working as a project manager. I've managed projects between $2 to $4 million. But the key thing about being a project manager, we're accountable to 3 groups of people. We're accountable to the sponsors, which are the funders. They provide the funding. We're accountable to our teams. Those are the people that I work with. And I'm accountable to the stakeholders. What does that mean for the position? Being accountable to the sponsors means that as in Congress, I'm accountable because I will be the person that will be working on policies to make decisions about funding for the state of Texas. Being able to work with my team of several different backgrounds, several different expertise, I'm able to reach across the aisle. That ability to work with different types of people with different types of expertise as a project manager gives me the skill set to be able to work with different types of people and reach across the aisle to get things done. Because as we can see in Congress right now, that is one of the biggest issues we're having now. The third group of people is the stakeholders. As a project manager, I'm responsible for the stakeholders. I have to meet the milestones. I have to meet the deliverables, and I have to finish my project on time. And that is what I also will bring to the table for the constituents. I will ensure that I will deliver for them just like I deliver for my stakeholders. I will deliver for the people of Texas and District 35. My key priorities is healthcare. One of the issues in District 35 is that there 21% of the people are currently uninsured. I will ensure that Medicaid get expanded and that we will continue to not have pre-existing conditions as an issue. There is 19% of the population in District 35 that's living under the poverty level, not at poverty, but under the poverty level. And I will ensure to work in Congress to ensure that the infrastructure bill funding that's already been dispersed, but I will ensure that that continues because there is a lot of workforce training in Title I, Title III, and Title V so that we can begin to train the workforce in Texas for the next level of industry that is going to be coming forth in the future. So I thank you for your time. My name again is Carla Joy Cisco. My website is Carla-Joy for District 35. I thank you for your time and I hope that you'll vote for me.
Thank you very much. We are, let's see, we're way ahead of schedule as of this moment because we're missing the Attorney General candidates. Is there any questions for any of the candidates who have appeared before us this morning who may yet be with us? Any questions? Any questions in the chat?
Well, I did ask of the land commissioners if they're still a public commissioner of public land, what their stand was on the Alamo and whether or not the city of San Antonio or Bexar County should take ownership or should the state have ownership of it.
Well, I think.
Hello, this is Michael Lang.
Yeah, go ahead.
I sorry, I'm traveling, so I can unmute, but I can't undo my profile photo. So if I don't mind, okay. I'll answer it this way.
Sure.
Great question. 1.6 million people visit the Alamo a year non-COVID. There's currently a $450 million renovation project. There are 4 major players at the Alamo: the Land Commissioner, the Alamo Trust, the City of San Antonio, and the Texas Historical Commission. It's a partnership. No one single person can wave their magic wand and everything happens. So it's a real partnership. And the Alamo has to be preserved. It's a major, major economic benefit for the City of San Antonio and Bexar County. It's got to be preserved and protected. So it's a partnership. You have to work with the other people to make it work. But the Alamo has to be preserved and protected. If you would like me more detail, I can.
All right. Yeah, that is it's a very large investment that's going into the Alamo.
Right, and there's one of the issues is that there's a British singer, a very famous one named Phil Collins.
Yes,
and he was the largest collector of memorabilia from the Alamo complex, because it's not just a church; it's the entire complex around it. And there was a bit of controversy surrounding it because some of the artifacts he gave actually were fakes. Now, I'm a member of the Friends of the Alamo and Alamo Trust myself, and long before I ever became a land commissioner, I've seen some of the objects. Some of them are real, and basically they're amazing because it's all we have left. Some of them are fakes. We don't need the fakes. So we want to keep the real ones, and we don't want the fake ones. So we have to manage that situation. There's also a question of all the different histories. There are so many histories. We can tell all kinds of histories. The Alamo Church is for the defenders, but the complex is large, and we can tell the histories of many people there. It's not a problem at all. But it is really a joint cooperation effort between the state, the city, Historical Commission, and the Alamo Trust. All those players make a big difference in the Alamo.
Okay, thank you so very much, Mr. Lang. That is
my pleasure. Thank you.
Interesting. All right.
Mr. Jaworski,
okay, we are a little ahead of schedule, but I wonder if Michael Cooper is here, candidate for governor. Mr. Cooper?
No, but Joe Jaworski just entered the Zoom.
Oh, Joe Jaworski. All right, let's go with Joe Jaworski then. Mr. Jaworski, the floor is yours.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much. And please to be mindful of your time, since I was a little late. I'm so sorry. How much time shall I speak?
Oh, you have your 2 minutes. We're right.
Oh, fabulous.
Schedule. Go ahead.
Fabulous. Well, greetings from Eagle Pass, Texas, here in Maverick County, where we are putting up Jaworski signs. And because of the beauty of this technology, I can actually walk over to this very sign. I'm Joe Jaworski, and I'm asking for your endorsement and your votes. It is very important that we have a robust statewide candidate for the Democratic nominee. And here we are putting up these beautiful signs all around South Texas. I am a 31-year Texas lawyer. I'm 60, but 31 of those years have been practicing law. And I'm proud of the work we've done. Small businesses over the course of my career. I am a former mayor of Galveston, and before that, city council member who stood for a principled stand of affordable housing for all Galvestonians after Hurricane Ike. They tried to recall me, believe it or not, the apartment association and the racists in my hometown. But I beat them, and I got the housing built. That is a battle-tested truth, sir, that really, I think, speaks well to being prepared for day one in dealing with the mob of the GOP leadership, which I bet would be the first consideration people should have when they think who do they want for their attorney general on the Democratic side. You may remember my grandfather, Leon Jaworski. I proudly pursue his legacy. He was the Watergate special prosecutor, and he left us with the legacy that no man is above the law. Now, he said those words in the United States Supreme Court about Richard Nixon. But what an appropriate mantra for Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton and the rest of his ilk, you can't trust them to lead our state anymore. And as your next Texas Attorney General, I seek to make it right. I'm asking you to lift me on your shoulders, and I say it's onward to Austin. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Much appreciated.
I have a quick question or comment.
Ahead, Larry.
Jaworski, please tell him what you would have done as Attorney General about the price gouging law and winter freeze.
Absolutely. What a shame that Ken Paxton wants to sue, GoFundMe to protect, Canadian anti-vaxxers, right? Which is what he did this week. And he wanted to sue the Biden administration for trying to help working federal contractors get $15 an hour, which is what he did this week, instead of helping ratepayers like you and me after Winter Storm Uri. So what I would have done had I been AG, number one, is let the energy and the natural gas companies know that gouging is not going to happen on my watch, and I would have issued civil investigative demands to all of them. Paxton only sent to one, and it was one that went bankrupt shortly thereafter. Secondly, I would have taken the contrary position to what Paxton did. I would not have protected ERCOT. Paxton has said ERCOT has sovereign immunity from lawsuits. Not me. I would side with the people who died and their families so that ERCOT is held accountable. So those are two specific things. And you can imagine when I'm Attorney General, the same sort of belief system will apply to health insurance and property insurance. We will make sure that when they take our premiums, that they pay claims timely and reasonably.
Okay, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Okay, yes, all right, we're going to move on. I think let's see, is Mike Fields or Lee Merritt or Michelle Beckley or Mike Collier or Carla Braley present?
Carla Braley is present.
Okay, all right. Carla Braley, you're up.
Hello, you all. Forgive me, I am driving, and I think I had us down at 11:53. So my apologies, but I won't be able to be on video if that's okay.
That's all right. Fire away.
Oh, so I can do an opening. Okay, so I am Carla Braley. I think I know several of you on the call. I've worked with many of you all. I am a mother, I'm an educator, and a lifelong Democrat. For the past 3.5 years, I have served as the vice chair of the Texas Democratic Party, where I have proudly, unapologetically, and intentionally traveled our state to work with various candidates who later became elected officials and some constituency leaders and faith leaders. And I have, to me, prided myself of working with everyone and to ensure that our party is really working towards engaging people locally, both in and out of season. I think that we have to make sure that we're relevant around issues. And so for me, people ask, well, why are you running? I have a teenage daughter. And after speaking with so many people around the state and having my own experiences as a Texas resident, I really wholeheartedly believe that we are in a situation that our state is in very troublesome time. I believe that our democracy is at stake. I think that we are facing an anti-democratic movement. And I feel like right now, based on my observation, it was absolutely a need to have a leader that's innovative, a leader that will focus on high quality education that's inclusive, that takes in consideration that we have to build an educational system that builds a workforce for the future so that we will have a home in Texas that serves all citizens, all residents. But also, I absolutely think that healthcare is absolutely essential. I believe that we are leaving tens of millions of dollars on the table because we are serving as so independent, where we're lone rangers and we're not looking at people in terms of considering them at the center. So many of our Texans are working day-to-day jobs, sometimes more than one job, and still cannot afford to pay their very high premiums. I think that is absolutely essential. I can talk about the power grid. The bottom line, we all know that we really just don't know where the state stands in terms of the power grid, but we do know that we can be better partners and really take a close look at federal guidelines and how we can ensure that our state is really embracing renewable energy and that we're making the proper appointments that we need to make. And that's one of the things that the lieutenant governor is actually classified as being one of the most prestigious and powerful positions in the state of Texas, because many of or all of the appointments out of the Senate are come from the lieutenant governor. And I absolutely think that that is essential. We have to have someone who will be ready to work on day one and who has the experience. And I'll end by saying that while I've served as a public servant, for me, public service is not an option, it's a way of life. I come to this work also after serving with Adrian Fenty as the mayor in Washington, D.C., serving as the board of directors for boards and commissions, as well as the executive director of community affairs. So I welcome any questions that you may have. I've been endorsed by the LGBTQ caucus of Houston, along with Young Democrats, El Paso Democrats, the Collective PAC, and so many more, and the Texas Coalition of Black Dems. And I'll stop there and hope that you consider Carla Braley for Lieutenant Governor, and I'm open to your questions and answers.
Thank you very much. All right. Okay, we're going to move on. I'm going to ask again if Mike Collier is with us. Not here. Michelle Beckley? Not here. All right, candidate for governor, Michael Cooper. Michael Cooper? Right. Candidate for governor, Joy Diaz. Not here. I'm going to go back to a candidate for attorney general, Rochelle Garza. Rochelle Garza? Okay, that's the whole schedule that we've gone through. A number of people did not make it in, but I guess we will take a break as of this time, and we will reconvene. And any BCD members who are current on their dues should have received an email from me for our endorsement and annual business meeting session. And so we will convene that at 12:15. At 12:15. In the meantime, are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Comments? Minutes. We can hang in for a couple of minutes to wait for Rochelle Garza. Okay. Right to. Okay.
I have a comment.
Bob, come on.
I generally agree with what William B. had to say about, there are a lot of things going on this morning, a lot of different conferences, a lot of block walking, and they have to make priorities, and we should be the priority. But with one caveat, and that is some of these people are calling in from rural counties where the internet connection is not as good as ours. And so that's one thing that we need to keep in consideration, because a number of our fine candidates are using that as their campaign slogan, is that we have to have, like the rural electrification plan, and way back when, we need to have some kind of plan like that to be able to connect all of our citizens. And I do want to commend our chair for the magnificent and fair way in which he's conducted this session this afternoon.
I'll remind you that I'm the vice chair, the chair in charge of vice. And so, all right. But I appreciate your comment.
Will you call the candidate that has joined the meeting?
Okay, is Rochelle Garza with us?
Hi, yes, I am. I was just sending a message to say hi to everyone.
Hi. You're up. You got 2 minutes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all so much for having me. I know it's a Saturday, and so everyone's very committed and very engaged, and that's fantastic. My name is Rochelle Garza. I am originally from the Rio Grande Valley, and I am running for Texas Attorney General. I'm a 5th generation Texan and expecting mom, and I'm running to fight for Texas families. You know, I always give a little background on my family. My parents were both public school teachers, and they raised me to believe that everyone is deserving of dignity and respect, and those are the values I saw them live at home. I grew up in a household with a sibling with disabilities. My brother Robbie experienced a brain injury during childbirth and required a lot of advocacy and support. And I saw that our family only thrived because all of us took care of each other and took care of him. And that's really why I became a lawyer, because I recognize our communities are only as strong as each of us. So I have practiced, at my heart, I'm a civil rights lawyer, but I've practiced criminal defense, family law, immigration, and constitutional law and class action law. So my work has had really broad impacts, like the Garza Notice that requires that all teens in immigration custody be given notice that they have a right to an abortion care. And I've also worked with individuals going in court. I'm running for this position because it's time that we take down Ken Paxton, and I believe that I'm the person to do it based on my experience and having dealt with him in the past. I want to focus on improving Texans' lives through fighting for consumer protection, for uplifting healthcare and ensuring that we expand access, and by ensuring that we have a fully funded civil rights division that protects voting rights, that protects access to reproductive healthcare, LGBTQ rights, and disability rights. So ensuring that we uplift all Texans, that is my vision for this position. And I know that we can do it. So I'm happy to answer any questions that folks have. You know, I don't know if I've reached my time, but if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to talk about any specific issue areas.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions? I guess you've satisfied our curiosity. So I do thank you for. I'm sorry for the kerfuffle on your scheduling, but I'm very happy that we were able to hear from you, and we will look forward to seeing you on the hustings there.
Yeah, I do see one question in the chat.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
About the dirt being flung at my way by Ken Paxton. You know, I have dealt with Ken Paxton before. I mentioned some of my reproductive healthcare work in fighting for teens' access to abortion care in Texas. And he did attack me and sent me a letter and used his office to try to intimidate me and the other lawyers that were, you know, complying with our duties to our clients. And we beat him back. So I am not afraid of that man. I have, you know, testified against Brett Kavanaugh in his confirmation hearings. So I, you know, based on his, you know, bad decision making when it came to my client and on choice in general. And I believe that, you know, now is the time to take him down. He's very vulnerable. He only won by 0.6 back in 2018, and we can take him on.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. You take care.
All right. We are going to break. We are going to end this Zoom session,